All right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on your Friday morning. For today's agenda, I will be covering pretty much an overview of the new tool Panorama. So pretty much I will introduce what the tool is, pretty much what the view as an instructor is, as well as the student, and then covering the type of capabilities such as alternative formats, being able to remediate your documents inside your Moodle course, and then diving into the reports as well. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat or just interrupt me and then I'll be more than happy to answer anything that comes up. All right. So the first thing is what is Panorama? So Panorama is a digital accessibility tool that provides institutions like yours with the ability to correct the accessibility of your digital content inside your Moodle courses. And then it also provides alternative formats for students. And then it also helps you stay up to date with the ever-changing accessibility issues. And we do follow what we call the WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 standards. So what you'll notice is in your Moodle courses, you might notice a couple of icons appearing next to either the pages or documents that are embedded within your course. And pretty much these icons will vary in color and shape. And this is just to give you an idea as to the accessibility score that the document or page has. So Panorama does support different types of files, such as HTML, web pages, PDFs, Excel files, Word documents, PowerPoint presentations. So we do scan all those types of files available inside your course. And then again, pretty much if you see a green icon, that pretty much means that accessibility is within a 70 to 100% range. So it's somewhat good. There's no major severe issues within this document. If you see a yellow triangle, most likely this document has some major issues and the threshold, it's pretty much between 30 to 70% accessible. And then if you see a red icon, then pretty much there's some severe issues with that document. So the accessibility score is below 30%. And of course, we don't require you to memorize what those thresholds are. You could always just hover over the icon and it will give you a little overview as to what the score is. Or you can just click into the document. And then right here on the top, you'll see, oh, it looks like this one is a green icon. I have 91% accessibility for this document. Okay. So what you are seeing here is pretty much the instructor view, but what will the students see on their end? So as a student, they won't be able to see what the accessibility is for the documents in their course, but what they'll see is they'll still see an icon next to those pages and files. And if they click into it, they'll just see the list of alternative formats that they can go in, generate, download to their device, and use that to pretty much access the content. So you don't have to worry about them seeing if the file is accessible or not. They'll just have access to pretty much generating a different type of alternative format. All right. Any questions about just the overview of what Panorama is and the icons before we dive into the alternative formats? No? Okay.
Yeah, we do have a question from one
Oh,
of
sure.
our attendees. Vanessa's asking, should we be adding this to Course Masters or only in the sections? You can add it to both places, Vanessa, and we'll talk about how you can add. It's already existing in both places, but your access to the dashboard is something that you'll need to add.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Sarah. All right, so now I want to talk about the different alternative formats that are available to the students as well as for yourself. So when we go in and select the icon, you will see the different types of alternative formats that we have. So in this instance, the document that I have available here is a Word document. And within this Word document with Panorama, I can select to download the original file, so the Word document. I can also select to generate a PDF version. So if I don't have, for example, Microsoft Word on my computer, I can just download and view as a PDF file. Okay. The other type of alternative format would be a text file. So this is just pretty much extracting all the text from the document and just seeing it or downloading it with the plain text. The next one is an immersive reader. So this will pop up in a separate tab within the browser. And what it does is it allows the student to either read along, so they'll be able to listen to the audio as well as read along the document. And let me share my sound. Looks like I didn't share it. Here we go.
Undergraduate major, political science.
Okay. You might have noticed that the voice is pretty slow, but you can make the voice speed faster. And if you have a preference between a female or male voice, you could also select that from here. Over here on the right side, there's text preferences. So you are able to make the text the fonts bigger or smaller. You could also increase or decrease the spacing, so it's just easier for you to see on your screen. You can change the font, and then you could also select a different theme. So depending on your preference, maybe you wear glasses like me, so you prefer a darker background so you don't have that glare on your glasses. Okay. Right here in the middle, we have the grammar preferences. So we are able to separate the words into syllables so it's easier to pronounce. We can also highlight different parts of speech, and you can select different colors to use. And then right here under reading preferences, you can add a line of focus. And then we also support translation. So we support over 100 languages. So for those international students, you are able to pretty much select your native language, and then you'll be able to use this immersive reader within your native language as well. Okay. All right. So this is pretty much the immersive reader option. And then again, this is available for any file type, such as even a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. The next one is a gradient reader, and this one provides a guiding color gradient to help with word recognition. So as you can see, each line is a different color. The user is able to go in and pretty much select the base colors that they would like to use, or also increase or decrease the color shift, and then just apply to their document. And all of these changes that they're making is just on the viewer experience. So they're not making any edits on the file itself within the course. Okay. For those that use Kindles or smaller devices, they can generate an EPUB file and then download it to their device. Also, for those that are would like to listen to the audio, they can either view this in their browser or download to their device.
Undergraduate major, political science.
And then you are able to pretty much select the voice speed as well as go back 10 seconds or download to your computer as well. Okay, we'll come back to the OCR formats. I would like to show you a different file type for this, as well as the math formats. But we also have an alternative format for translation. So you can also select your native language, for example, and you are able to download specific alternative formats in that language. So if you want to listen to the audio in French, for example, you can, or you want to just download the EPUB file in French, we also support that as well. Right. And then if there are any visually impaired students in your course, they will be able to access Braille formats for the document, which are compatible with Braille readers as well as Braille printers as well. All right. And in the case that you want a specific format to be available to your students. So what you can do is you will see the custom access format, and it would allow you to upload any format that you like, and then it will be available within the list of alternative formats for the file. Okay. All right. Any questions so far about these alternative formats that we talked about before we talk about the math and OCR formats? All right. So to talk about the math formats, if you're teaching a math course or maybe a chemistry course where you have worksheets or maybe you have some handwritten notes and you upload them to your course, what we have available as an alternative format is pretty much a LaTeX file. So you can generate a LaTeX file. If you hover over the eye icon, it will also give you a description of what that alternative format is. We also support the immersive reader. So just like the one that we just saw, we also support it for math equations. The math text, what this is going to do is it's going to pretty much take the equation and make it into text. So that way the student is able to go in and read pretty much what that equation is. We have the math audio, so I'll read out loud those equations. And then the math ML is pretty much going to extract the equation. So this was, as you can see, was a handwritten note. It made it into an HTML format that you can copy and paste into your web page, for example. Yep. All right, so those will be the type of math alternative formats that will also be available to you and your students. Now, I want to talk more about OCR. So, um, you might have noticed it is very common to have in courses scan images or scan PDF or those type of untagged PDFs. And as we all know it, those can tend to be very not accessible at all, just because if you have a student that's visually impaired, unfortunately their screen reader won't be able to go in, detect the structure of that document, or even detect the text inside this image. So what I heard sometimes is I struggle with a lot of these PDFs. I don't know how to remediate them. How can I make them more accessible? So with that, we do have what we call OCR. So this is a type of technology that will convert images with text, just as this one right here. And it's going to pretty much add machine encoded text that can be searched and read by screen readers. And yes, OCR is optical character recognition. So pretty much we are able to use that technology to help you fix those either scan images or untagged PDFs. So how do I generate those formats? So within the OCR formats, if you click into it, you have a couple of options. The first one is going to be an overlay tag PDF. So what this means is we're going to keep the same image, but we are going to add the text on top of that image. So if we go in and click view, you can see that it's the same image, but now I'm able to go in and detect the text. So the screen reader is able to go in and read this image out loud to the student. Okay. So if you have a PDF that maybe has a lot of tables, images, graphs, I would recommend using the overlay tag PDF just so it keeps the same structure of the document. But in the case that maybe you have, for example, example of a text, just a section of a textbook, doesn't really have a lot of images, it's just plain text. We do have what we call the reconstructed PDF, and this is going to generate a brand new PDF, and it's going to extract the content that was inside that image. So as you can see, it's a brand new PDF, it has all the content, and I'm able to go ahead and copy the text. So you as an instructor, you will be able to pretty much generate these and then either remediate that scan image on tag PDF with these formats. And then again, we have either a web page that you can download and upload to your course. If you just want to extract the text from that image, you are able to do so in this text file. If you want to use the immersive reader for the scan image, you can, as well as the gradient reader or listen to the podcast of that scan image. Okay. Semantic text and semantic audio. This is just giving more information about the structure of the document. So if a user is using a screen reader, it's going to read out loud pretty much the tags. If there's maybe a table involved, they'll see start table here, header. So they'll be able to pretty much read out loud all of those tags of the PDF. But The most common ones that I've seen faculty members use is the overlaid PDF or just the reconstructed. So these are available for you as an instructor as a resource, but they are also available for your students as well. Okay. All right. Any questions about those alternative formats before we dive into the accessibility report and remediating the documents? No. All right. So let's say I have some documents and they don't look too accessible. So for example, let's look at that PDF that we were just looking at. So if I click into the accessibility report, it's going to give me pretty much a preview of my file here on the left side, and then it's going to give me a report here on the right side. So it's going to tell me, okay, so far the score is 0. And why is it 0? Because the document's just a scanned image. And if this one is one severe issue. So pretty much what Panorama is going to do is going to tell you what the issue is here on the bottom. And if you click into learn more, it's going to give you a video tutorial on how to manually fix this issue. So you're able to play the doc. You are also able to make this full screen if it's too small here of a window. It also gives you step-by-steps here on the bottom on how to remediate it. And then as you can see, it's telling you, hey, go and download the tag PDF format in the OCR section and then upload it to the report. If there is, for example, an issue and you're not too sure what it is or why you need to change it, we do have a tab called What This Means. And it's just telling you why this issue is and why it matters. And for this specific instance, the screen readers will not be able to read the content inside that PDF. Okay? So one of the things that you can do is you can go back and either download that specific alternative format. And what you can do is once you download it to your device, in the accessibility report, you can drag and drop that file to replace it with this new format. Or you can select from your computer. But I'm going to give you a little tool here. Right next to update document, right here on the more actions, you're going to see as an option to replace alternative format. If you click replace, it's going to give you these two options again. So, okay, I want to replace it with the reconstructed PDF. And once I select that, I'm going to hit replace. And there's a couple of things going in the background. So one, Panorama is going to replace this file with this new format. You'll see the confetti come up. It's going to rescan it just to make sure that now that it's not scanned, we're going to read through the PDF and see if there's no more issues. It's going to update the score, and it's also going to update the alternative formats available for your students. And then lastly, it's also going to go in and pretty much re-embed it inside that content page within your course. So you don't have to go back and re-embed it. It's going to be pretty much available there. So that way, for the next semester, when you do a course copy, that remediated file will come along in that new course shell. Okay. All right, and then as you can see, I went from a 0% score just by changing into the alternative format to 88%. And then again, you can still go in and just taking a look. Oh, it looks like there's one major issue. It's missing a title. Let me click more, and then it's going to give you instructions on how to add a title to this PDF. Okay. So pretty straightforward. You don't need to be an expert in accessibility to fix your content. Panorama is there for you to tell you and guide you through the way on how to fix this document. Okay. Let me go ahead and just show you one last example about remediation. So for this Word document, I have 4 issues in here. So even though it's 97%, there's still some issues that I can fix. So as you can see, I have the preview of my document over here on the side. And then over here on the right side, there's a couple of issues that I need to remediate. One of the things that are available within this report, if you click into the more actions next to the issue types, It's going to allow you to add this to a to-do list. So let's say you're working on this document and then you have to leave. You can add this to a to-do list so you can access it later. And then I'll tell you how you're able to access it in just a moment. You can also filter by issue types. And then we also allow you to pretty much download this report as a CSV file, or if you want to pretty much customize the highlight. So as you select the issues, Panorama will highlight the area around where the issue is located, and you are able to pretty much customize the color. So in the case that it blends in with your document, it's hard to see, you can select a different color for the highlight. Okay. All right, so this one is letting me know, hey, the font size is smaller than 9 points. You need to fix this. And then again, it's going to give me instructions on how to fix this in Word document. In the case that maybe this document, you're not too sure where it's located inside your computer, you can always go in here and download the source file. So you always have access to that original file, and then you can start remediating. All right. And then as you can see, it's going to tell you pretty much the font size is smaller than 9 points. Maybe this image needs an alternative description. And then also there's a contrast issue. So it's really hard to see this text. You need to change the color. And then again, Panorama will let you know pretty much how to fix these items within the Word document. Okay. One of the great things about Panorama is that you will always have access to the original file. So let's say I made all of these changes and I'm actually not happy with them. I need to revert back to the original version. You can click on these three dots here under More Actions, and you'll see a version history. So it's going to tell you the number of times that you have pretty much made adjustments to the document, and then you could always select to preview or restore to this specific version. And when you restore, Panorama will pretty much restore back to the original, will show you the original score, and it's also going to update the alternative formats that are available for the students. Okay, so you never lose access to that original file. All right, so that's pretty much the remediation part. And then again, this is available for those files, those pages that are available within your course. Any questions about the remediation before we jump into the actual reporting in the Panorama console? No? All right. So Panorama is a very robust tool. So not only does it allow you to remediate documents inside your course here in Moodle, but you are also able to access a console that has more tools available for you. So one of the things that you can do is within the edit mode, you can add an activity. And what we're doing is we're adding that link to access the console. So under the activities, under the tools, you will see a Yuja Panorama tool. And let me see here. It's hidden from me here. Here we go. Once you do that, go ahead and select it and just give it a name for your link. All
Diana,
right.
can I jump in? So
Sure.
you all can do this right now if you want. Go to add activity or resource in one of your courses, go to all, and you'll see it listed as Panorama. And I can demonstrate quickly, Diana, but I think
Sure.
your demo actually kind of covers it, but I can share my screen if you're open to that.
Sure.
Okay. So you all can see I'm in the accessibility awareness course. I'm just going to go down to the bottom and add activity or resource. And then under all, ours is just listed as Panorama. You click Panorama to add it, and you can just give it that same name. And once you've added it one time in your course, that will give you access to the console. You can keep it anywhere you want. I think a course home location makes sense. You can make it visible to students, or you could choose to hide it from students. They will not see the same thing that you see when they click into it. So they will not access your console. They'll be accessing something that Diana will cover in a minute called the Doc Hub. Okay. Thanks, Diana.
Thank you. All right. So now that you have added the link into your course, if you click into the link itself, it's going to log you into the console to your own account. So pretty much um, as a faculty member, the first thing that you're going to see is going to be a course report, pretty much giving you information about the accessibility of your course. But before we dive into the report itself, I want to show you pretty much what other tools that are available here within the console. So if you look here on the left side, the first thing that you're going to see is the Doc Hub. And this is available to you as an instructor as well as to your students. So when they click into that link, they'll be able to go into the Doc Hub. And pretty much what this is a repository where you can go in and upload any documents. So not necessarily documents that are within your course in Moodle, but you can add any document you like, and you will have the ability to see the accessibility of this document. And then again, you can access the report. You can also access the alternative formats that are available. And then let's say you are working on remediating this document that you will be using for a specific project or marketing purposes. You can either share with the user, so you can enter their email address and then they'll receive an email notification to either download this original file or an alternative format. You can select to download the remediated file, or you can just view here inside Panorama. Okay. One of the things that I do want you to know is that as a faculty member, you have access to remediation. From here, the student will not be able to see score accessibility scores for any documents that they upload in here. They will only be able to pretty much access the alternative formats. Okay. And then this repository does allow for creating folders, organizing your content, and it allows you to search by file name or folder, or if you want to filter by a specific file type, it does allow you to do so. Okay. All right. Remember when we accessed accessibility report and we added the document to our to-do list? So you will be able to access those documents here in the to-do list tab. And then as you can see, these are the documents that we added. And if we click into it, I'm able to go into the report and then continue working on the remediation for this document. Okay. And then once you are done remediating, you will have the ability to go in and remove it from your list. Okay. All right. So those will be pretty much the capabilities that you have available. So the DocHub repository for content that's not necessarily in your courses, but you still want to check accessibility for those. And then your to-do list so you can work on items at a later time. All right. So now let's dive into the reports. So every course that you are a faculty member of, you will have access to pretty much the report. And what it's going to do is it's going to take the average of all the files within your course, and it's going to give you an overall accessibility score. Right here on the bottom, it's also going to give you insights as to what the difference is from the previous month. So it looks like in August, my score did go up about 1%. Okay. It's also going to give you the number of files that Panorama scanned. So far, Panorama scanned 40 files inside my course. And if there is a change, for example, there were 5 files more in August, that means that I was adding more content into my course. The files improve using Panorama, so these will be the number of files that you remediated using the tool. And then this gives you insight as to the number of alternative formats that were downloaded by the students. So you can check to see, oh, it looks like they are popular. My students are using those alternative formats in the course, right? If you want to see an overview of the accessibility score throughout time, we also provide that for you. And then you can filter by specific file types. So as you can see, my PDFs are the ones with the lowest score, but it looks like from April until now, they're getting better. So I am working hard on those PDFs. All right. And we also give you more information as to what type of documents you have available within your course. So it looks like PDFs are quite popular in my course. And then what type of alternative formats are being downloaded. So it looks like my students really like the MP3 files. So you're able to get that insight from here. Now scrolling all the way down, and this is actually my favorite section of the report, is in the files and issues section, you will find pretty much the list of all the documents that Panorama scanned in your course. So in the case that maybe inside your Moodle course, you don't want to pretty much go through different tabs, access the different documents, you could always go into this report and access all the documents from here. So you can see it brings up all the documents inside my course. And the great thing about this is it allows me to filter. For example, I want to see the files that have the lowest score first. So it looks like I have a couple of scanned PDFs in here that I need to remediate. And the great thing is you can access the report from here and you can begin remediating all of those documents. So it's all in one place. Okay. Also, if you look here under issues, it's going to give me a list of the issues that were found within my course. And then I can decide, for example, I want to start working on the severe issues first. I can filter it out, and then it's going to tell me, okay, the severe issues that we found in your course is that there is one document scan and there are two documents where it's longer than 3,000 words. So if I select the drop down, it's going to tell me the document that has this severe issue. And again, I can access the report and begin working on that document. All right. The next thing is we do keep logs of pretty much the documents that you have remediated. So if you're curious to see, okay, let's look at the documents that I remediated. And it will give you pretty much what the document is, what the new score is, and what the previous score was. So you can see that I am improving my files. This one went from 0% to 72%. So you'll be able to pretty much keep track of those files that you have previously remediated and to see the impact that they had in your course by either uploading that OCR format or just changing a few of those severe major items. Okay, so this will be available for you for every single course where you're listed as an instructor. So you will be able to access all this information. And from here, you are able to switch. So let's say I'm in here for my political science course, but now I want to look at another course from here. And then it's going to give me that report, right? A quick note about these reports are updated every night. So in the case that you remediated 20 documents today, you go in and you notice that it's still the same score, you could always click refresh and that will give you the pretty much real-time statistics in the report. But otherwise, we will update it that night and provide you with the updated score the following day. All right. Any questions about the reporting of the course? No? All right. Just one last thing that I do want to cover is accessing support. So not only do you get help from the tool, we also have our support team that is available to you 24/7. So in the case that you have issues with one of the files, or maybe you forgot how to remediate, you are able to reach out to our support team to ask for help. And they're more than happy to help you, provide you with a guide and instructions on how to use the tool. Or maybe you're seeing a bug. You can also report that as well. And the way that you can access our support team is within the console, you can click the your account icon, and then you'll see a tab here for support. This will take you to our support page, and then I'll go ahead and paste the URL here in the chat. And pretty much you are able to access a section of guides for Panorama right here. And it's going to break it down by different topics. But in the case that you need to get a hold of someone, if you just scroll down, it's going to give you a phone number and then an email. So you can call or you can email us at any time and someone will be available to help. All right. And what I'll do is I'll also paste this section here of guides for Panorama in the case you're curious and you would like to access it later on or just add it into your bookmarks for later. All right, but other than that, that's Panorama. That's an overview. It's a robust tool, but hopefully you find it easy to use, informative, and hopefully it helps you with your documents and you don't find it too stressful to remake those items. But again, it looks like we have some time. So do you have any questions?
I have a quick question. What is the difference on the course report between reprocess course and refresh?
Oh, good question. So refresh is going to pretty much refresh the analytics inside the course. The reprocess button, we only use it for troubleshooting. And what it does is it's going to kickstart Panorama to rescan all the files in your course. And then it's going to update the overall reporting of that. So we typically use it for troubleshooting in the way where, let's say you're not seeing a score for a file, then support might tell you, actually, we're going to reprocess your course just to make sure that Panorama scans everything. But if you just want to update the report, then we use the refresh. All right. Thank you. Good question.
Diana, I'm wondering if you could talk for a minute again about what targets our instructors should be shooting for. Before I turn it back to you, I want to kind of acknowledge where we were sitting as we left our previous provider and where we are now in terms of the scope of the scan. A lot of our instructors were really attentive to the scores they were seeing with our previous provider, Ally, and it seems like something that might have gotten a 95 or even 100 with our previous provider is getting a lower score. If you can talk about the scoring method and how that works, that would be really helpful just to give some additional background. And then also, again, kind of just encourage us to like how we should be viewing the different scoring brackets and what we should be shooting for. I know you covered that briefly at the beginning.
Sure, no problem. So pretty much what Panorama does is we follow the WCAG guidelines. So pretty much Panorama does have what we call a set of tests that we perform for every single file. So let me go ahead and just show you here. This is more on the administrative side, but I do want to show you what we look for. So pretty much Panorama will have a set of issue types for each specific file. And what it does is it's going to run tests. So it's going to run, okay, we're performing a test to look for maybe there's no alternative descriptions. And we'll go in and scan for that. If there's no alternative descriptions, let's say for that specific document, it's going to flag it. So pretty much Panorama will flag the number of times that that document doesn't have alternative descriptions. And then based on the settings that we have is alternative descriptions are considered a major issue for us. So then these issues do have a weight. So we have a weight. So major is about 20% weight. So what we do is we go in and take the average. So we pretty much use what we call specific rubrics for scoring. So let's say you're using the dynamic severity model. It's going to pretty much look at all the issues and their weight, and it's going to pretty much select a specific score of the highest severity. So let's say my document was scanned and I had two instances where my document had severe issues. So then what it's going to do is it's going to give me a score of severe. So it's probably going to be 30% or less. So just wanted to give you some insight as to we have tests that we perform. Each flag or each issue will have a severity weight. We take we make our calculations. We give you the score based on this rubric that your institution selects. So we do have different models. Some can be very strict, some can be more lenient. And it looks like, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are using the dynamic severity model.
That's correct.
Correct. So pretty much what we look at is we look at the highest severity level for the score that we provide for your document. Okay. So the great thing about that specific model is that if you have severe items, you're going to have, let's say, a 30%. But once you go in and remediate those severe items, you will see that score improve significantly. So one of the things that we recommend is don't overwhelm yourself. Just work on maybe those severe major items, and then that will probably get your file to 80%, and then you should be good to go. So technically what we're focusing on is fixing those very severe major issues. And then if you want to remediate the minor issues that come up, you can, but it's just a way for you to get started and not feel too overwhelmed with just thinking, I need to get this to 100%. You don't, it's just addressing those very severe issues that are available within the documents. Okay, any questions?
We have a question in the chat from Connie Vera. Connie, feel free to take yourself off of mute if that's helpful too. You're not seeing an accessibility report?
Yeah, it tells me that it's not available yet.
Okay.
So what happens is those reports, since we update every night, if you just access your course, for example, it's going to update that night. But if you could always select to generate the report. Do you see that option, Connie?
Let me see it. Hold on a second.
No problem.
So I'm going to settings and then reports.
Honey, I think you're going to the wrong place. So you need to be accessing this from the Panorama external tool. I don't know if you remember that earlier in the session where I showed you've got to actually add that as a resource in your course.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't do it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I'm going to do that and then I will be able to see it. Thank you.
You got it. Yep. It's kind of like a textbook portal. So when you add that tool, that will be your link to the dashboard, just like you have maybe for Cengage or another provider, and it'll take you to that report.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Our previous provider, the reports were in a different place. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Anything else? Question, feedback? What do you think about the tool? And I know it's a lot.
I have a question.
Sure.
At the beginning, you were talking about the tools to put the translations, for whatever language we have.
Yes. So, what you can do is we do offer a translation of the document. So that will be listed under the alternative formats of that specific document.
And that's my question, Diana.
Uh-huh.
I've seen many translations. So the question for you is, how do we know the translation is actually accurate?
Oh, okay. Good question. So we do have a percentage. So these translations are 90 to 95% accurate.
90 to 95. So that leaves us a 5% of, which is a big thing, So that's my only concern about using translations, because it's not always very, very accurate. So I don't know if you have any other ways of reviewing or proofread the translation.
That's a good question. So I will double check with my team and then just give you an answer to that, because at the moment I'm not too sure. Just because this is, generated by a machine. So they're not usually always 100%. We always recommend human revision, but let me double check and see, and then I can get back to Sarah so she can get back to you.
Yeah, which is good because that give me more opening for my job and translate and revise these translations. Even AI is not good, It's
Correct.
not. It's so. I'm saying this because if somebody happens to use that specific tool, always make sure to have access to whatever information you're going to give us to
Hmm.
double check that the translation is going to be at least in the 99%, accurate.
Uh-huh. Yeah, great question. So let me check back on that for you to see what recommendations we have, and then I'll
Yeah,
get back to Sarah.
Thank
perfect.
you, Connie. I knew you were going to ask about translation. I gotta say, I mentioned this a couple days ago. Y'all know at the the faculty meeting. I think the translation tool is fantastic because it's more than what we've had access to before. But you're
Yeah.
right, Connie, right? If it's not perfect, do we want to be directing students to it? And I think that the caveat here, kind of like what I've heard in other sessions, is that 90 to 95% is something that we can talk to our students about and say, look, this is AI generated. It's not going to be perfect. And so you shouldn't count on it to be 100%. And it's still giving a lot more opportunity for translation than we've had in the past. So I think it's nuanced, right? Like we don't want to rely on it 100%, but we can use it as a starting place.
Yes.
Rose, I appreciate your comment in here.
Oh yeah,
Can I add just one quick thing?
Yeah.
sure.
Supporting Connie. Um, there's, I mean, because we both deal with languages, there's going to be times that I don't want my stuff interpreted. I don't want it translated at all. Is there a way to turn this off?
Oh yeah,
Because
great question. Thank you for reminding me. So you will have the option to edit the settings of a course. So in the case that you have those language courses where you don't want students to be able to translate the documents in there, in the settings part configuration, you will see pretty much settings for your course. So right here, I'm logged in as an admin, but you will have access to the course settings. And then if you look here on the right side, you will see the alternative formats menu. And it's going to give you the list of all the formats that are available for your files. And then you can pretty much, if you scroll down, let me see, where is it? Here we go. You can either leave it on or turn it off. And what this is going to do is it's going to turn off the, let me just briefly show you. It's going to remove this option here under the files, and it's also going to remove the option under the immersive reader. So they won't be able to translate those files in there. Okay. And then the great thing about this is you can save, those changes will be applied, and then you can import these settings for your next language courses. So in the case that you make a lot of configuration here, you turn off several alternative formats, for example, you can select to import these settings to a new course shell for the following semester. So it allows you to do that.
nice, thank you.
Of course.
And Sarah, we will have this video available to us again, right? Because I got to review how to add the Panorama app that you were talking about. I was taking notes and I'm like, that's what I didn't do it. So I will be able to see this again.
You will. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I'm also happy to screen share with you and walk you through it on your own a couple times if you'd like. That's why it's
Okay.
great for Diana and me to work together on this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sarah, and then you'll hear from me about the recordings this afternoon. So I'll have that ready for you.
Okay. Perfect.
Quick question. What if there's something on our report and we don't know where it is in our course?
So at the moment, we don't have the ability to tell you where exactly it is located. I know there is a feature that we have filed in the past for Panorama to tell us where it's located in the course. Let me take a look and see what the status is on that feature, and then I can let Sarah know if it's upcoming in the next release or so to give you a heads up. But good question.
Vanessa, do you think this is like another one of those ghost things like we were seeing with our other provider?
Well, like one thing is coming up, it's the course expectations
Mm-hmm.
list, but I don't have it anywhere in my course. I don't know. I can't find it.
I think it's in the RSI documentation folder in the bottom. Pretty sure that file is listed in the RSI documentation folder.
Okay. And then there's something in the student services HTML,
Yes.
but I don't have a way to edit that. The student policies and procedures, like it's part of the course that's in there, and it won't let me edit it to fix it.
So that's the kind of thing that is going to keep us from being at 100% and drive some of you nuts because you want it to be perfect. It's going to accept imperfection on some of these, because I do believe that having the dynamic severity model that we've got selected is better for us because it's giving us more information right now. And that's the place that we're in with our new provider is we want to collect as much information as we can and try to correct as much as we can and then see where we are. And I think people are already doing the kind of work you're doing. It's so quick and responsive that we're already making major improvements to accessibility with this new software.
One last question. Yesterday I was working on one and it kept pulling my PowerPoints up to say verify the reading order, and I verified they were correct, but how do you fix that?
Oh, okay. So in the case you were following the instructions and it looks like the reading order was correct from those. Okay. So in those instances, I would recommend reaching out to support, just because they'll be able to take a look at the file and then being able to look into it in the case that there's something that Panorama is reading a little bit off, and then they can submit a ticket with our engineers so they can fix that. So yeah, if you have that file, just feel free to reach out to support, attach the file, and then let them know what's going on, and then they'll be able to either help out or file a ticket and escalate it to our engineers. Okay.
Thank you.
Of course.
And just Vanessa, as a Microsoft person, I know you know that Microsoft's not perfect. I think there's a flaw in that accessibility review within Microsoft because you can review the reading order all day, but there's no place to say, yep, I've checked it. And so it's just going to keep coming up. So I actually think that's a flaw within Microsoft that's getting triggered by the review in Yuja. So I don't know if
I run the accessibility checker on some of my Microsoft things, these errors are not coming up. They're only coming up here.
Yeah. So that's where support on Yuja's side will help out. That's great.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, these are great questions that you have. There are a couple of things I will follow up with Sarah so she can get back to you. But other than that, I thank you for, joining me on your Friday morning, and I hope all of you have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you all. Thank you, Diana, for spending time with us, and we'll be sure to out.
Of course. Thank you. Bye-bye.